Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Jason and I am so excited to be with you today. If you enjoy this video, please consider hitting the subscribe button and please share me out to anyone who you think would enjoy this. So this video today is going to be pretty amazing. I bought a very cool object from eBay, and no, this is not clickbait. The title is totally true. I bought an ancient Egyptian mummy case back in 2018, and inside this cardboard box with its original shipping label right there from 2018, I bought an amazing object. And on the inside of the box, it's so carefully nestled in because it is extremely fragile. I will take it over to the light box like I always do for all of you. Again, I thank you so much for joining in. And this was, interesting how things, I've always said, have a way to find me. I was doing an eBay search very late at night in 2018, and I suffer from insomnia like most artists do. We don't know how to shut our mind off sometimes, and we're overly emotional. And I decided to go on eBay and do a title search, and don't ask me how, but this object wound up in my title search, and it was listed as an old, creepy, I forget the exact title, old, creepy bird sculpture. That's all it said. And the gentleman that sold it, he was from, let's see here, I covered it up. He was from Michigan, and he bought out storage units. So this was forgotten about in a box, in a storage unit, and he sent it to me, and I'll give you a quick peek. I never use white gloves in my video. It's a very good way to damage items as well. But look at this for an ancient Egyptian mummy case, and it has been certified now by two people that are very much so specialized in Egyptian and ancient Egyptian items. I'll take it over to the light box in a few seconds. Thank you so much for joining in. I will discuss some basic information about it, the fact that I'm going to get it x-rayed very soon, and we're going to see what the contents are because you can feel a little bit of a movement inside of there. So I know that there's a mummy inside of this Ibis bird case. And then we'll talk about value and sell-through rate and how such things are actually sold at national auction. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Wait one sec. I'll be right back. And for all of you new to my channel, this is the way we do it at my channel. We come right into the light box because that's where the magic happens. What I would like to say in regards to how this object found me, or how I found this object, I say that, there's a popular kind of adage or a popular saying about eBay that you can find anything and everything on eBay, and let this video be proof that you can. So a lot of times when people clear out storage units, they go after the obvious things. They use Google Lens and AI to identify most of the objects in a storage unit, whether they scan a barcode or they run an ISBN number on a book. They use that baseline information that Google will provide, and that's very accurate. I'm not knocking that at all. But when you get into something like this object, which I will show you now, so we can study this for quite some time, when you get into an object like this, you don't know exactly what you're dealing with, and you can use Google and AI, and it's most certainly going to tell you that it looks like the form of an ibis bird, and it looks like it would be Egyptian. I'm going to lay him or her down here so that you can get the full effect of this in great lighting, very close up, and I'll zoom in on some details. Let me give you some basic information about the way I used eBay back in the day. I had a tendency to shop or look things up by a title search, and this is way back in the day before eBay even had the little gallery image that would show you like the image and then the title. This is just back in the day when it would show a title. I believe when I found this one, there may have been a photograph of this, but very small and nondescript and not a very good photograph. The gentleman that I bought it from, let me see his first name here. It was Tom, and he was located in, it looks like it was Michigan at the time. And I have everything. I have all of his contact information on the outside of this box, and it was delivered 3/2/18. So it came to me in March of 2018. And the listing, like I said, I think it said odd or creepy old bird sculpture. That's all it said in the title. And I thought, what an odd title for an object. So what I did is I clicked on it, and it was a buy it now of $39.99. So I jumped on it. I said, I will take that for $39.99. My intuition at that point was this could be extremely important, and at best, it was highly unusual. I wasn't sure if it was a mummy case. I just felt as though this is going to be an incredible journey. I never doubted my intuition, and I think a lot of people that excel in this antique business always follow their inner voice, and this is a classic example of just following my inner voice. I'm known for jewelry. I'm known for gemstones. I'm known as a historian. This object really spoke to me volumes of remembering back in school when I was in Egyptology. And I learned under Earl Ertman at the University of Akron. And he was an Egyptologist that actually went there 2 to 3 times a year to dig and excavate and identify artifacts and ancient relics of the Egyptian culture. On this mummy case, what I've come to realize in basic information, this would be the late period or the Ptolemaic period. Now, Ptolemaic is spelled with a P, so you don't pronounce the P, but it's Ptolemaic, but it's spelled Ptolemaik. And that's the period in which this came from, which would be around 600 BC. Between 600 BC and let's say, well, 640, 660. So this is before Christ. And I had several Egyptologists and art historians take a look at this for me. I will eventually be taking this to a museum. I need 2 things done. I need it authenticated as ancient Egyptian. That's the first part of the process. And then the second part of the process is to get an X-ray or a CT scan of the inside of the case. Now, there is something inside of the case, and it could be a mummified remains of an ibis bird. It could be a frog. It could be a snake. When you do research on these mummy cases, they were offerings to the god of wisdom known as Thoth. So the god of wisdom, which was, shall you say, the offerings were from the ibis bird to the god Thoth. It's interesting to think of what the Egyptian culture was about and how they honored animals and their gods. The case on this is plaster or gesso. It does have a linen wrap, which we can see remnants of through these cracks. This is a cast bronze head, and it does have cast bronze feet. Look at these kind of stays, if you will. This was attached to a wooden base at some point. There has been early or later, I should say, restorations on the plaster work. The feet may have broken off or may have fallen off, and then someone throughout history, maybe the Egyptian people back in ancient times, restored this or re-gessoed this. Why I touch this with bare hands? I was always trained in my school of thought that gloves are very slippery. Gloves are very, they're very unpredictable. Latex and cotton. I always handle my objects with my hands. These are objects of art, and I would eventually love this to be in a museum, so I am going to be contacting an area museum. These pencil or tracery lines, I've yet to identify why those are there. They could be based on the layout of the paint surface, but also later. So maybe a child got a hold of this and drew on this or traced around those painted lines. The painted surface also could have been altered throughout time. A lot of times the ancient Egyptians had certain paint pigments, and I don't know if this yellow color falls within that. I'm still unclear on that, so I won't comment on that. But look at this oxidized bronze surface. This incrustation could not be forged or synthesized. Okay, so when people look at these, that encrusted surface, that's ancient. Absolutely, 100%. The way the face is formed, definitely of the form of the Ptolemaic period. And I go close up on these feet and how that surface has grown, honestly, over, 1,000 to 2,000 years at this point, or over, I should say, 2,000 years. The way the case is sealed, so that's a gessoed body. And when you tip this, I don't think you're going to be able to hear it. Let's see. Well, there it goes. You might be able to hear a little tiny movement, a little tiny thump inside of the case. Do you hear that? There's a little bit of movement inside of there. There is something inside of this mummy case. And it would be mummified remains of likely an animal. So I need to get it x-rayed. I will say this much. If authenticated as ancient, and if there is a mummy inside of this Ibis case, I would say that at auction, it has a good chance to sell extremely high. Now, with the restorations and some of the condition issue and the losses to the surface, that will affect the value. Absolutely. Sometimes when these bronze features are then cleaned or restored fully, it can leave much to be desired in terms of the condition of such things. I have always said they should be left alone, but bronze sickness, which this is starting, should definitely be addressed by a professional, so no further loss is incurred. Let's just say this. In 2005, at a national auction, there was an auction result of a very similar case. Similar in size, similar in structure, similar in everything. And that specific one was estimated between $20,000 and $30,000, and it sold in 2005 for $31,200. There was another example that was Ptolemaic period, circa 600 BC, 640 BC, and that one sold at auction against a preview. Here's the interesting part. The pre-sale estimate at a preview, at the auction preview, the pre-sale estimate was $18,000 to $22,000, and the sell-through rate in 2011 was $47,500. The condition was better than this one. The condition was definitely better than this one. So what do I think this is worth? I can't comment on that right now. I could give a pre-auction estimate if it were to go to auction. My preference would be that if a museum would like to step up and acquire this piece, we could work out some sort of deal that maybe I donate it, or there could be a small purchase, or what I would do is just donate it and ask that it stay within the museum, not be deaccessioned at any point, gifted to a museum, and then stay put just with my name on it, that it came from my estate. That's all that I would ask from a museum. Sometimes they can't promise that because of the way they deaccession items. But I will say that I feel that this is magical. I feel it's historically important. I will say that this is one video that may put me onto another path with YouTube. So if you like this video and you like this content, please share me out to other people. I will say there are examples of such Ibis mummy cases at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, also at the Birmingham Museum of Art, and of course in the holdings of the Smithsonian Museum. I think that this is an incredible and important and a beautiful piece of history from the ancient Egyptian culture. It is an honor to own this. I'm absolutely so happy that I rescued it. What I'm most proud of is that the person that sold this rescued this from certain displacement, from a storage unit auction. They did a little bit of justice to this piece, to list it on eBay, and I was just lucky that I found the needle in the haystack. There's not very many times that this happens, but just remember that when the universe wants something to be in someone's holdings, it makes sure that that happens. This is an honor to own. I think some people may not understand, a mummy case. They may not understand the Egyptian culture. That doesn't matter. This is an artifact of history that needs to be revered. It's an honor to own. It was an honor to share with all of you. I have so much to get done today, but again, if you love this kind of video, please let me know in the comments. Please hit that subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up, and I beg you, please share this out with the rest of the world. Such items need to be seen. You know how I end this because it's absolutely true. Go forth with beauty in your heart, and I love you very much.